Hey, it's Bits from the Past Gaming. This is part two of my Sega Genesis collection. These games are multi-platform multi-platform and just other games that I have. So let's just get to it. First one is Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Really fun game, fan favorite for both consoles. Definitely a pricey one, but one I wanted to have in my collection. So Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Really entertaining game. Next we have James Pond, kooky game where you're a frog who's like an agent. I don't know. It's a play on James Bond, obviously. It's alright. But I bought this. It's in excellent condition. I figure why not, and it was pretty cheap. So next we have College Slam, which is a spin-off of NBA Jam, but with college players instead of NBA players. Really fun game. I remember playing this a lot, as well as NBA Jam. So a game that I definitely wanted to have in my collection. Next we have NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Oh, I must say, if you see stickers on games, that's not exactly what I paid for it. They could be from previous stores or rental places, or might have traded games for, or got deals on. But I just wanted to say that real quick. But here's NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and really fun arcade basketball style game. I don't know anyone who doesn't know about this, or the quotes from it. He's on fire and boom shakalaka. So definitely a fun game. Played hours of that. Next we have WWF Royal Rumble. I know it's WWE now, but it will always be WWF to me. And this game was really fun and awesome to play. It's WWF Royal Rumble, and had all the stars of that time, and definitely one of my favorite games to date. I love wrestling games, so definitely had to have this in my collection. Next we have a puzzle platformer in Lost Vikings. Another fun game. You really have to use your brain in this. You have 3 different characters. They each have a special ability that helps you get through the map, and you have to use all their abilities to get to the end of the stage. So you have, like, this guy has a shield. He can put it up, and then this guy can jump. So he can jump on the shield and use that to go over. And then the other guy, I don't really remember what he does. Maybe it's the sword. I don't really remember. But they each have their own unique ability, and you have to use them all and work together to solve the puzzle to get through the level. So next we have Beavis and Butthead. Goofy MTV show from back in the day. Basically, it was 2 teenagers that sat on their couch and made fun of music videos, and then on the side they had their real life going on, which dealt a lot with school, their neighbor with his lawnmower, who ended up becoming Hank Hill, I believe, and what's that show with Hank Hill? King of the Hill? Or is that what it's called? I don't know. That cartoon with Hank Hill. And then you had just random things that they had. And then Doria, I believe, was on this, and she ended up getting her own show as well. But this game is not the greatest, but it's just nostalgic, and it really encapsulates the show, how weird it is. So, just fun to kill a few moments playing as Beavis and Butthead. Next, we have Separation Anxiety, and that is a Spider-Man game, and I believe, yeah, this one you can play as Venom or Spider-Man, which is really cool, and you can play with a friend, so you can each play as a character. It's just a normal side-scrolling beat-em-up, fun game to play. This one's definitely getting a little up there in price as well, but definitely something to pick up. It's fun. Next we have Maximum Carnage, another Spider-Man game, pretty fun as well. I actually believe you can play as Venom in this as well. Yeah, I think so. So that's pretty cool. But this is only one player game, so you can't play with your friend. But the solo is not too bad. I enjoyed it, and a game that I had to have in my collection. I have the red cart edition of this, which I believe is a little bit harder to find. So pretty cool. Next we have the Cool Spot game. Pretty much a Sprite ad that was put on Genesis and I believe on Super Nintendo as well. It's actually a good game. It's a fun platformer. You play as Cool Spot and you just go through the levels. Side-scrolling platformer. Really fun. Definitely worth picking up. And it's not terribly expensive at this point. So definitely something you should give it a try. Next we have Barkley Shut Up and Jam. It's terrible. It's terrible. Game's actually not too good. It's kind of like an NBA Jam type of spin-off, but mostly street ball. I remember playing this a lot just because it was available on Sega, and it was kind of like NBA Jam. I mean, it was fun for what it is, but it's definitely not the greatest game. Next, we have Battletoads and Double Dragon. Really fun game. I played this not too long ago and really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very, how do I put this? Very innovative for the time. I mean, there are so much things you can do in this game that were just ingenious. Like, different ways you can kill enemies, you can boot them off the screen, you can hammer them into the ground, you can give them the big boot, kick off the screen. Just a ton of different actions that you could do in this game that just really is really impressive for this time period in gaming. And definitely a fun game. The only downside with this game, and a lot of games from this time period that are two-player, is that you can hurt your partner. So if you're playing with a friend, you can actually like hurt your friend by hitting them, which is very annoying, especially if there's a lot of enemies on screen and you're both trying to kill them at the same time. A lot of times they ended up hitting each other, and that's not fun. But the game itself is fun if you figure out a strategy. We usually do like top of screen, bottom of screen, or front and back, so we don't end up hitting each other. This is a challenging game, but it's fun. So definitely want to grab that one. Next we get into the Disney games. We have Jungle Book, fun game. I didn't really get too far into this, but from the little bit that I played, I thought it was pretty fun. You know, typical platforming side-scroller from Disney based on the Jungle Book. Next we have a Lion King. And The Lion King, as awesome as it is, this game is effing hard, man. Too hard for children. I don't know why they make these child's games so hard back in the day, but this one is so hard. I remember in order to become like a full-grown lion, I had to use cheat codes because I just couldn't get through certain parts of this game. The thing with the monkeys, where you have to jump from the monkeys, that gave me a problem as a kid. I think the Stampede level was challenging too, but this game is just challenging, but it was definitely fun, definitely worth playing. Definitely good if you have the codes so you can progress through the story, or if you have Game Genie. But definitely a fun game, not too expensive, so you can definitely pick it up. Next we have Aladdin. I should have put this with the Genesis exclusives for the mere fact that this is by far the best Aladdin game. The Super Nintendo game doesn't even come close to this one. This Aladdin game has the sword play, whereas Super Nintendo does not, among other things. So if you have a Super Nintendo and you played Aladdin and you're like, well, I already have Aladdin. No, you don't. You go buy this Sega Genesis version of Aladdin. It's awesome. You will not regret it. And it is a whole different experience. Believe me. It's going to be huge. Alright, next we have Jurassic Park. And basically a game you set in Jurassic Park. I remember playing this vaguely, but I don't remember if it's good or bad. But definitely a game I wanted to have in case I get around to playing it. You can play as Alan Grant, and I believe you can play as the Raptor as well, which is really cool. Alright, next we have Mortal Kombat 2. I can't keep track of which Mortal Kombat has what and what's what. I believe Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 was the best as far as having the biggest roster and everything, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I played the new one, Mortal Kombat XL, and I think it's pretty incredible. They definitely did a great job with bringing Mortal Kombat into the new generation of consoles. But this number 1 and number 2 is where it started at. Obviously, Sega Genesis had the blood code in the first one, so that made people flock to the Genesis because they could put in the blood code. I remember back when it first came out when I was a kid, everyone was talking about the blood code. Gotta get the blood code. Gotta get the Genesis to get the blood code. Everyone wanted their hands on the blood code. So, Mortal Kombat, awesome fighting game. Had to have it. Next we have Beauty and the Beast. They have Beauty and the Beast for Super Nintendo. I think it's a different name and different cover, but it's pretty much the same game. Basically just another side-scrolling Disney game. I don't know if it's good or bad, but whatever. Next we have Tasmania. I remember playing this, and I remember it being fun. I'm going to have to go back and try it again. Like I say with a lot of these. But I got this for a really good deal and wanted to have it in my collection so I could play it eventually. Next we have Batman Forever. It's probably horrible. I know a lot of the Batman games are not too good. But this game looks horrible. It probably is horrible, but I got it for really cheap and wanted to have it in my collection. It is Batman, so even if you get a little fun out of it, it's a win. Next, we have RBI Baseball 4, and the rest of these are going to be sports games, so if you want to turn it off now, you can, but I advise sticking around. So we have RBI Baseball 4. It's a baseball game, not much to say there. I'm not going to waste time talking about obvious stuff. Another one, baseball, World Series Baseball. As you can see, I paid $1.99, complete. What the hell, why not? $2, add to the collection. Next we have FIFA Soccer 95. For some reason, I really enjoy the Sega and Super Nintendo soccer games. I'm not too fond of the new ones. I don't know why. Maybe because they're more arcade-ish. But we got FIFA International Soccer, which I believe was the first in the series. Next we have Madden 97. I collect old sports games. A lot of people don't, so I can get them for really cheap, and I enjoy collecting them because I like to be able to go back in time and play with old players, relive experiences from different eras. So being able to go back and play, football or basketball or baseball and go back and play through some of my favorite time periods in sports is definitely fun for me, and I love it. And being able to get the games pretty cheap is a bonus because no one really cares about them. They want the newest roster, but for me, I don't really care. As long as it's fun, I can go back and play as old teams and old players, and it's just fun for me. So next we have NBA Live 98. The NBA Live series is, in this time period in Sega, is really fun. Especially NBA Live 96. I don't know why, but I really love this game. I'm sure 98 is about the same, just different updated rosters. But I mostly play NBA Live 96. It's just fun. I love that you can turn on these slow motion dunks and slow motion layups in it. It just really adds to the gameplay. And being able to go back, like I said, and play as some of the greatest in basketball or football history is really entertaining. Next we have NHL 95. NHL, their early games. NHL 95, really fun game. Definitely one of the best hockey games ever made. But NBA Live 94 is the best hockey game ever made. And it is the best on the Sega Genesis. They have it on the Super Nintendo as well, but you need to play this on the Genesis. It is the best hockey game, if not one of the best sports games ever made for video game consoles. And it's right there on the Sega Genesis, and it plays the best on the Sega Genesis, and it is the best hockey game on the Sega Genesis, and one of the best hockey games ever made. So definitely one of the newer hockey games actually had a NHL 94 mode where you could play in this style of gameplay in the new game, which was pretty cool. And yeah, definitely a must-have, and it's really, really inexpensive. I paid $2 for this. So to get the best hockey game ever made and on the Genesis and complete in box for $2, what are you waiting for? Go get it. So that's all my Sega games for right now. Obviously, I plan on buying more, but these are the ones that I have at this current time. And stay tuned down the road for an update with even more games. That video, I'll try to only display the games that I don't have in these two videos, so it's not a long video, but you'll see the updated roster in the Sega Genesis collection that I have. So with that, I will leave you. That's my Sega Genesis collection, 2017. One love.